Excellent. All right, and here we are. Tom, once again, welcome to the Howard Stern show. No, wait, that's not right. Welcome to here we're talking about building with no code and right building with no code and AI, no code and AI, and what's new, what you need to be doing, what's new, and how you should change your what's new? We'll just go with what's new to start here. Uh,
Yeah,
and
there's a lot of new things here, Trevor.
and it's going so fast. I was watching Jack Butcher, the like the last 2 3 days, just posting
Visualize
basically.
value. Yeah.
Yeah, my whole head's exploded. I have no idea what's going on. This is insane. And his he managed to keep up with crypto. He was there for crypto, and AI is going so fast that he's like, I cannot. I don't know. It's so
It's dizzying. It really
it
is
is
dizzying, and there's a lot of things like going on. I know Ben's Bites. If anyone is
really good.
following, really good newsletter. He's
He
drinking from the fire hose only to still hit you with a fire hose.
Yes, and
Um,
so
it,
and he still misses stuff. I also found a buddy of mine does Bot Eat Brain, and I see
oh,
Bot Eat Brain sometimes catches stuff that Ben's Bite misses, and
I
vice
mean,
versa.
there's tens of thousands of AI projects out there right now,
So fast, it's insane.
super fast, and it's just incredible that like I think the bar has been lowered a little bit for industry experts to be able to have their own SaaS product all of a sudden. Like the
Yeah,
consulting sphere especially is really interesting. We're
it's
going
going
to
to be
get to that.
nuts.
I do
Yeah,
I do want to talk about that a little bit today. But one of the things that was really exciting for us in our projects together, summary legal, class notes, Minute Master in the
pottery.
works.
We've
In
named them all.
pottery, yeah, I know pottery is a fun pun.
That's
The
good. I like it.
podcasting
It's
app,
it's better than Moo Rooms.
it is better than Moon Rooms. Although I would say Mark certainly isn't the greatest fan of pottery, but that's pretty table stakes for some random idea that we come up
Yeah,
with on a Monday
whatever.
afternoon.
Whatever.
Um,
Exactly.
but we got access to GPT-4. So, we were one of the first in line, I think, for signing up for that, access to the API. And it is really encouraging to see how much more functionality GPT-4 has over 3. Specifically, a lot of the workarounds that we put an enormous amount of effort into to handle larger files, larger
Yeah.
transcript size, larger just queries to GPT-3, 3 to 5x in
Yeah.
GPT-4, and I think that trend is probably going to continue, right? But the major thing for us is like, we were locked in at being able to transcribe and push through the system, um, you know, maybe 10,000 words, we'll say. Um, Now, or 5,000 words, we'll say. Now we can kind of double that, so like 8,000 words, but even be able to batch that into multiple pieces. We already built that infrastructure, so
You did.
we
It was laborious, as I recall.
yeah, it wasn't the easiest thing to do, is like split up this file in this transcript and by number of characters or tokens, and like the way that those things are calculated is just a little different than it's not a simple character count. um, so that was a little difficult, but we already have the chunking done. So the chunking, albeit smaller chunks previous, now we can do slightly larger chunks, add in a little bit of context with GPT-4, which is really, really helpful, right? Not only am I giving you a transcript and a recording, or a transcript of a recording, I'm also able to say, I'm a lawyer, I'm a student, and like wear
Yes.
that hat and frame the scenario that the AI is actually designed to respond to and like take the perspective of. So that's super super exciting for us, and like all of a sudden we made an upgrade across four products
Everything.
at the same time, right? Like
Yeah.
that's how we've architected this, and one of the reasons that it's just so exciting to launch these little micro products in this fashion. It's just been a pleasure. So exciting stuff.
It is definitely cool. We did have with Summary Legal, we got a chance to talk with somebody who was in the knowledge management team at a large law firm. Got some good insights that yes, this is a needed thing. One thing that I am super interested in, me, because I'm the marketer, not the builder, uh, is it seems to still be true, and even maybe more true, with the proliferation of product. The need to find your audience and be able to communicate just to them, I think, is even more so because now anybody could build, and it might be as good as yours, or maybe not as much. There's tons of folks out there building the exact same thing. But
Hmm.
if you're able to be visible in a way that others are not, like that's the democratization of making these sorts of solutions means the requirement for a good way to cut through the noise is growing increasingly
Hmm.
more dire because now there's even more noise than there was before.
Well, and I think in a lot of ways, people are very willingly kind of letting the hype cycle run.
Yeah,
Like it's very appropriate. Anyone watching this right now, if you're a little overwhelmed by the AI train, sitting back and saying, I'm gonna see how this thing pans out, a week or two or a month or two. I really don't blame you. It is very triggering to the crypto waves of 2017, 2018, and what we saw, a couple of years ago. And
2021.
I think, yeah, I mean, let's just name years at this point.
Yeah,
The major thing though about AI that I think is definitively different from the crypto and blockchain movement, industry, niche, sector, whatever you want to call it, is that it's pretty easy to immediately see applicability
yeah,
and value from, hey, write a thank you note to my mom about something, right? And like you're gonna get that.
yeah, yeah.
And the AI sector, I think we're starting to see a lot of people talk about, a co-pilot for X,
Mhm.
right? A co-pilot for marketing, a co-pilot for this, that, and the other thing. Like, you know, take a page out of GitHub's book and
Yeah.
apply it to something else. Of course. Um, but the level that you can turn co-pilot into autopilot, I would be very skeptical of. So,
I agree.
right, like, what do you think about that? How have you seen that kind of pan out?
So one of the things I right now have open a very interesting thread from I think it's Dickie Bush. Let me go find the thread, and I have too many browser windows open, Tom. Um, where he's going through, hey, you need to write content. Yeah, it's Dickie Bush, and I will. Uh, he's talking about how you can use ChatGPT or any of these chat interfaces with AI. I'm using Bing Chat because ChatGPT keeps crashing on me. Uh, to generate basically infinite ideas to talk about,
Sure.
right? To write your content about. You plot out 4 or 5 things. And by the way, it's at Dickie Bush on Twitter. Go look him up. 4 or 5 things that you like to talk about, and then
Hmm.
you instruct. And this is one of the very compelling things to me about GPT-4, unlike GPT-3, is he basically starts with this is the block of instructions you give the AI. You say you are going to make ideas. Every idea starts with a verb to make this an actionable thing I can write about. Right?
Cool.
Okay, so you set these rules up, and then you say make me 20, and then you just say great, make me another 20. None should be duplicated,
Yeah,
and you
yeah.
go and you go and you go. And because ChatGPT has more persistence now, you can get a little longer before the token wanders away and you start to hallucinate. And but what he's not saying is write it for me because ChatGPT writes mediocrely. We talked about
Hmm.
this like every
Yeah.
time we talk about this. But ChatGPT can give you ideas and the value of the human brain to take thesis and antithesis and combine to a synthesis, which is then something interesting to say,
Yeah.
remains for a while yet, knock on wood, remains unparalleled.
Right.
And that co pilot, where you say, did you think about this? Or I've seen ChatSpot came out, right? Chat interface for HubSpot. And I like HubSpot a lot. I have been HubSpot certified for like a decade. I had Mike Volpe come attend a talk I gave or a event I held in Florida back
Mhm.
when I lived there, and the idea of a chat interface for my HubSpot where I can say, "What was that deal I had about cement construction work? I
Mhm.
can't remember." And it goes, "This one?" And you're like, "Yes, that's it." When was I supposed to follow up? And it goes, "Tomorrow." And you go, "Hot damn, thank you," right? Like
Yeah, yeah.
that level of transparency to the interface. Again, this is a co-pilot. You're the salesperson. You still have to close the deal, but being able to take this big, hard set of data and make it accessible in a way it didn't used to be is super compelling. Being able to take big problems like, what do I write about for the next year? And have
Mhm.
something feed you ideas. It does not supplant human thinking. It does supplement it.
Yeah, totally. And like, I mean, what's the experience difference going to a vending machine versus going to a restaurant, right?
Yeah.
And like that is going to be the thing. Is like if you have a human who's interfacing and talking and actually engaging with your customers or your marketing, community or whatever it is, that is still and probably perpetually will be infinitely better than a robot serving, even if the information or the verbiage or the whatever is better, or when it is better, writing to the tune of Shakespeare, whatever you want to call it,
Right.
it's still going to be a human wanting to interact with a human.
Yeah.
And we forget, like, we're apes with phones here, right? There's like some biology at play that I
Yeah.
don't think can be ignored. And Copilot, okay, it'll be good at some things, not good at other things. Autopilot, I'm not buying it. It's just not ready yet. And it really might be later this year. We don't
Who
know.
knows? The speed's so fast. Maybe GPT-6 will surprise us all and just be better at everything than any human is. In which case, my wife is like, "We'll have to move to universal basic income then." And I'm like, "I don't think you realize how willing the United States is to just embrace misery instead." So
I wish I could refute that. Um,
yeah, the
I
headlines
know.
in the news suggest that we're good at embracing misery. Anyway, all right.
Hmm.
So that's building. I think one thing, right? You're listening here. You care about no code. You care about AI, I presume. Um, what you can do with GPT, being able to give much better instructions and being able to parse bigger data doesn't sound like a big win. You're like, but it completely changes what you can do with the tool in ways that,
Totally does.
again, they rolled this out 2 weeks ago, last week, 2 weeks ago,
Yeah,
and
people
will
got
be,
access to it. Yeah,
yeah,
recently.
but we'll be 6 months before we've caught up with what GPT-4 has done, much less everything that comes out after. But just begin to think, right? It's basically better memory, bigger instruction set, bigger digestive capacity. How does that change what you want to do? And something that you couldn't do before, you can now do.
I
There's
mean,
that.
you
And then
could
we're
pull.
talking about expertise, right?
Hmm.
And how experts are able to not autopilot, but offer a co-pilot where you've got that deep knowledge of expertise and systematization that you can then say, how do I use AI and no code to
Yeah.
power this creation? So what have you been seeing, Tom?
Well, I've been seeing, I'd say, just an incredible curiosity from consultants and domain experts that know that their discipline is their discipline, and that AI is it's less about it coming, and it's more about it amplifying you as a person that can produce incredible value in a consulting context or in an advisory or a coaching context. Though those contexts specifically, I think, are really interesting when it comes to, like, someone who had a career for 20, 40 years on whatever, and they want to be able to do a little bit of translation into, like, a broader audience about their experience, and then being able to deliver their consulting, coaching, services at scale. Like, what is the vessel that allow a expert coach to have more than four to five to six or whatever, coaching clients or coaching executives a year? And that's going to come from a combination of like maybe sipping a little bit on the data that those teams are giving you, processing it with an AI, and then being able to like surface surface things from your own library as a coach or as a consultant that you might want to recommend to your portfolio of mentees, for lack of a better term. Um, but it's like that middleware. It's like, how do you spot anomalies and position work that you've already done in the right light and frame it for your audience that you have? And I'm seeing that specifically around consulting, coaching, and mentorship. And I think that would also apply extensively to domain experts, right? So you take somebody in law or somebody in a niche area of finance or financing or debts, and like there's all these types of incredibly deep areas of expertise, and it's impractical, especially if you are a domain expert, right, in scaling, right, 15 companies from 0 to 2 million. That's a pretty deep in like focused area, and the methodology that you've created around that, right, is not abstractable to an AI right now. But there's ways for you to leverage that AI in your domain so that it can help you do what you do better for your person to person, interactions that you have.
Yeah. I did have a chat just what today is Wednesday, Monday. Had chat Monday with somebody who not a marketer at all, no marketing experience, founder, technical founder, has built a marketplace for um, students to learn data science. Right? There's a big
Mm-hmm.
demand for data scientists, and he's in Mexico and using the very systematized methods I talk about for how to go to market, where it is very
Mm-hmm.
color within these lines, um, able to get like 44 cents per sign up for his like trying to build out a list of people who might then become paid users,
Right.
and dropped the exact I think he like $300 and got 15 students, so paid users.
Oh.
That's like, what is that, $300, like 650-ish registrations, right, and gets 15 paying students, and those students are paying, I mean, I don't know the exact amount, but probably
More than a
500 bucks,
dollar.
$1,000, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly, more than a dollar. So tremendously capital efficient by following a very regimented way of what do I do to go to market using the
Mm-hmm.
templates that CrowdTamers has for free. Go check them out on crowdtamers.com. That are very high performing, like ad templates, and then had a very good offer for a tiny niche market. And
Mm.
then asked me, he's like, these numbers aren't what you said they'd be. What do I do? I'm like, yeah, they're way better. Like, do this now, right? Like, you knocked this one out of the park. You should be deliriously happy. You spent $300 and made a couple of grand. I wish I could do that every day. So,
Mm.
like that capacity to be able to say, here's expected, here's what happened, and just query, right? Hit up. There's a startup I've been talking with off and on called Persona to AI, and it reads everything you've ever written, all your
Oh,
video transcripts, everything, and then duplicates your brain. And something like
interesting.
that hooked up with, oh, and the other wild thing, right? Wolfram Alpha, which has always been this weird little niche only physicists and true nerds use,
Yeah, yeah.
has suddenly become the API for ChatGPT to be a super genius. And
I
so
saw that.
Stephen Wolfram, who was just kind of like this guy who really wanted to make a search engine for like hard problems and
Mm-hmm.
like data, not just internet pages, suddenly is going to become a key pin of what ChatGPT can do. So if you think of, you take ChatGPT's capacity to understand and abstract relatively simple thinking with the computational power of something like Persona AI, then you add in a human's expertise around a topic matter to be able to interrogate, crunch numbers, and get answers back
Hmm.
on a thin level, right? You won't get crazy out of the box ideas. Like one founder I talked to last week, I said, what you need to do is go to every couples therapy workshop in your town and pitch your product to them, right? Go
Hmm.
actually meet humans in the real world. I've never given that advice to somebody before, right? Like that, make this new insane idea. AI still won't get you there, but to take this repeatable, digestible part and say, there's the next thing. Like we're right there, right? Being able to say to my accountant, hey, um, I did this thing, right? I posted a donation of this to here, whatever. How does it change my taxes? And being able to
Mm.
say, let me ask the AI to understand all my finances. It's got access to the database, sees what I did, understands the new law changes, and goes, here you go.
Yeah.
Right? Like this is we're right there. This is coming. And uh, you can either say, that's it, I'm done, game over, we're all screwed, because most of my business comes from folks who ask these dumb questions. Or what's more exciting to me is, great, I don't have to answer dumb questions anymore.
Hmm.
I can answer the hard ones that are more fun.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the hard ones, and I think it's just the relationship and the like. You're not going to get an introduction from ChatGPT, right?
No.
It's not going to be like, oh, you're asking the same questions or similar questions from this person way on the other side of the world. You should meet. Here's their LinkedIn, right? Like that's not going to happen. So you can't. No matter how promising the technology is, still being an island is probably not the answer. You said one thing though, a couple minutes back here around a person that was creating some student class that put some money in and it went well. What was that class about?
Data science. It was basically teaching people to be, they get a data science certificate and then they go work remote in the US because this is a Mexican.
Oh,
And so the
cool.
idea was earn your data science, like learn Python, learn R, right? Like be good at
Hmm.
this.
Hmm.
And then, because there are, another one of my clients is in the data viz space. There are
Hmm.
10 times more data analysts than data scientists. Every company
Oh.
has a huge pipeline blocker of, how do I actually take, I would like to do this data transform in MySQL,
Mm.
where data analyst is used to Excel, right? They can maybe do a
Yeah.
VLOOKUP. But you go,
Yeah.
great, we have to actually write SQL queries like a real programmer. Ugh,
Hmm.
right? So
Weird.
the idea is, like, one, AI, I'm sure, will show up and start solving this. But two,
Sure.
being able to say in the intervening while, have somebody in Mexico who's, you pay them what, $2,000 a month. They're super happy to get $2,000 US a month, and you're replacing a role that you can't even hire that you
Yeah.
would pay $10,000 a month for in the States. Like really good
Totally.
business model, super solid idea, and figuring out his go to market right through a systematized process. Interesting. I do wonder in the education space, right? Once again, ChatGPT, Persona.ai, Wolfram Alpha, combine
Yeah.
them together. Do I stop having to send my child to school soon? Can I just hook him up to the Socrates chat engine and have him answer all the questions?
I mean, I love Socrates, but maybe.
He was the
I
OG like nerd, like really
maybe.
annoying troll. That was Socrates.
Inspiration.
I mean, I'm not
Um,
I'm not saying he wasn't smart, but he was also very. I mean, he was so unpopular they made him kill himself, which is that's pretty
it was
extreme.
voluntary at the end, but
I
yeah,
mean,
yeah.
I suppose, but it's still like, hey, your questions are so annoying. We would rather you die, and then to be like, you know what? Fine, I will. I mean,
Yeah,
there's
that's commitment, right? I mean,
that's
you want to talk about follow through.
commitment to the bit. That's fair enough. So yeah, like
The
all this is coming together, and again, we don't know. I do think the people who move now, the people who say, I have an extra idea. You're talking to somebody, right? We'll
Yeah,
divulge
yeah,
no names. You're talking to somebody right now who's got an idea that he's made like a $500,000 on or more on
yeah.
selling this tool. And now he's saying, what if I made this not just you have to talk to me? What if I
You got to
make it
pack
where
it.
there's a
Yeah.
software where, of course, you pay less, but
Yeah.
you get 80% of what you get from me in this tool, and then it's scaled, right? People who make
Hmm.
that jump now and who build, I'm increasingly prejudiced, right? And who build with no code because you ship stuff in a week and not 5 months.
Yeah.
Those people, at least in 2024, who knows when the economic apocalypse comes, but at least in 2024, they're going to have a leg up over everybody else.
Well, and that's the thing. It is a land grab. It is a race right now to play with and understand and learn the real use cases and start to get any traction on this stuff. The a couple of things on the synthesis of what it is that we're doing at X-Ray now that all of this stuff is stuck around, right? Like this stuff isn't going to go away, and there's a little bit of a reframing that I want to share because this was an aha moment for some of the folks that we've talked to recently that I didn't realize was particularly insightful. So I'll share it here, and anyone wants to throw a comment in the comment section, please do. Is you see a lot of these ops department roles. So sales ops, marketing ops, HR ops, whatever those things are. And I kind of think all of those things are bullshit. And it's a lot more of a workflow designer who is designing the way that you use your tools with automation and AI. And there's going to be a massive emphasis in the next couple of years, we're seeing it right now, in understanding what are people going to do versus automation and AI, right?
Right.
And how do I design the work to get done by my people and leverage these things in a way that's non-threatening, in a way that's actually a competitive advantage for me against all of my competitors who like aren't really thinking about the experience of the employee right now in this firestorm of opportunity and new tools. Like that's I think a huge opportunity for a lot of Series A, Series B companies that need the talent that will allow them to grow and scale. But, you know, is every company really the same? Is every company that uses Asana really the same? Right? The tool itself, are those companies the same? And is your experience working there gonna of course not, right? Because there's layers of things either being automated or not. There's layers of AI being available or not, and that's what we're realizing is like the most critical juncture that we could sit in, and why I'm really excited about all these micro products and like being able to enable other industry experts to like create a micro product in their own discipline is like it's a couple of weeks for us, not a big deal, but I get to learn a whole bunch of stuff about things I didn't even know existed. I got taken to school yesterday about bio manufacturing here, biotech manufacturing in Boston Bio a couple day ago yesterday, which was just really really cool to see. But it's like all of these topics, it comes down to the employee's experience. And you could have a mutiny and think people are they're, oh, you're going to replace me with AI, or next thing you know, it's actually a massive benefit of working there. You get to leverage these technologies. You get to go into an environment and a workflow that actually encourages the utilization of these types of tools instead of being afraid or thinking that it's going to replace people. Businesses do work with people, and people do business with other people, right? Like what was the vending machine restaurant example, I think will hold true for quite a long time.
Yeah, that is one thing. And I am, uh, when we first started to work together nearly 3 years ago now, I think, right? I didn't know, none of us could have foreseen what AI was going to do. I do think X-Ray, as the automation uh, builders, you are very uniquely positioned to take advantage of this. Anybody who needs something built to scale and automate, of course, like that's X-Ray's thing, right? That's what you do. But being able to also start to loop in now AI and make Zapier it's a powerful tool, but fundamentally it's basically like you connect a hose to uh, two different faucets and then you turn them both on and hope nothing explodes. And what you're adding now instead is computation in the middle of that hose, where
Mm-hmm.
does this route to here or here or here? What happens now? And also adding interrogation.
Mm-hmm.
When Zapier goes wrong right now, unless you can diagnose it, you end up with,
It's
like I did with a client. The one of the few times I tried to build something in Zapier for someone, uh, we went through 10,000 zaps in like 2 hours, and basically duplicated one new sign up 10,000 times in their database. Right? Oops, because there was some limit check that wasn't right, and with an AI in place, of course, it would go, "This looks fishy.
yeah.
Let's
You probably
maybe,
don't. Do you sure you want to do this?
yeah, pause this." Right? Do you know what you're doing? And the answer, of course, is no. I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And that, right, putting that in, or seeing Dharmesh Shah from HubSpot just bought chat.com, the domain. He paid 8 figures for it. And he's like, I don't know who needs this, but chat is going to be the dominant interface for the 2020s. And I might sell the domain. I might build something. I don't know yet, but I do know this domain is worth 9 figures. And I bought it for only 8. And I'm like, damn, son.
When you have 8 figures to creatively burn, um,
Yeah, and it was his money, not HubSpot's money. He just took out, I don't know, 4 to 9 million of his cash and went buy a domain. I'm like, man, I agonized over the $45 one versus the $9 one.
chat.eth, chat.soul, chat. I mean,
Yeah,
it's going to be 1,000. People are going to see this and
yeah,
start
but the
buying chat domains.
.com still, for some people, has a certain legitimacy to it.
Just like Facebook.
Yeah.
For some people, has a legitimacy to it, right?
And they may all be equally mistaken.
Yeah.
All right. I think the last thing you want to talk about, running a little long here, but the last thing you want to talk about was, so building no code, putting this together, right? We're moving into a terrible funding environment. Banks are falling left and right. I'm seeing tons of firings happening, 9,000 here, 12,000 here, 600 here, whatever. Like, it's just the bodies are hitting the floor. This is the leading edge of a wave that's going to swamp the tech sector. I've been through both the previous .com bubbles. I think you have too, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we're battle scarred, we're hardened. We know some of what works. I've seen a lot of what doesn't work. Um,
Yeah.
so my advice comes more structural, right? I'm not the smart builder. Tom's the smart builder. I'm the mustache. But on the structural side, what Tom was talking about with employment and humans and what you can do when you enable them with AI, it's worth thinking. If you look at the challenge that used to be involved in creating a company that can serve 100,000 concurrent users,
Mm-hmm.
the setup costs used to be several $1,000,000
Mm-hmm.
before you could even serve that many people. Now, the upfront costs are, I mean, you're maybe $25 for a domain. You can make a Heroku droplet, get AWS credits, YOLO, right? Now,
Yeah.
once you start to get these many users, you'll have to find a way to monetize. But you could argue, look at what all of this virtualization did to destroy all of these jobs in manufacturing and DevOps and such and such. And it did, but it also exploded what you could do.
Mm-hmm.
And AI inside of a company is going to have that similar effect where we're going to see, right now there are like 19 million small businesses in the US, something like that. And that might go up by a factor of 10
Yeah.
as what I'm able to do is magnified by 100-fold as AI comes into this space. If you are in this bad environment, you're looking at, what do I do to survive the next 18 months when I'm not going to get any money, despite the fact that every startup is told, raise every 18 months if you're on the VC track, right? Like raising before 2025 looks dodgy right now. Okay, what do you do to survive? I think one thing I would really focus on is headcount is usually your biggest expense.
Yeah.
Not saying fire people. That's kind of mean. If you have to, I suppose you must. But rather, how do you do more by using AI, automation, standard processes, and better structure to give your business the appearance of being 10 times bigger than it is. Because if you do that, you will grow simply because the power of what you're able to do extends so much. If you don't do that, all the companies that did and who did close around in early 2024 because all the metrics were still super solid, even during this bad market, you're going to have a hard time convincing a VC to give you money and not them. So, like, there's the AI land rush right now of VCs are still writing checks for AI companies, and they are. But it's also worth thinking AIs as an internal support, where
That's
you're not an AI company, but so much of what you do is AI enabled that you are 10 times more effective than you were. You are still an AI company for all that you aren't selling AI. You don't have a .ai domain, right? If you're that company, you will survive way better. Just like in the last .com bubble, all the companies that were heavily virtualized and not owning their own bare metal survive. Defer the cost elsewhere that are not, like, take your fixed costs and put them somewhere else,
mhm.
reduce them, you can scale better. That's my thinking. What do you have?
Yeah, I'm gonna go in a little bit of a different direction. So if you're an established company, um, there's three things that you could be doing at any time. You could be doing more of something that you know is already working. You could be doing the thing that kinda is working a little bit better, so you could be doing more or better, or you could be doing this new AI thing, right? And I think it's really easy when you have an established company or even a startup, you want to do the new thing because the new thing is sexy and it's on the top of the news and all that stuff. And I would say shift a lot of that energy and that excitement into the more category or the better category of the stuff that you know can work, is working, and do more of that. And instead of trying to invent new things that may or may not involve AI, layer that into the more and the better, right? Layer that into the campaigns that you're already running that are working, into your channel partnership strategy, into your referrals, the way that you know are able to sort of branch or deepen your relationship with your existing customers. Like those are going to be the things that make a tangible difference, not swinging for the fence with a full count. You know, it's just we're not at that environment right now where I think generally speaking, we can be making those moonshot bets. Like the financial ecosystem is pretty rocky right now.
Yeah, yeah.
So like to focus more so on the business mechanics, the things that you can measure today that you are improving, shifting the thinking from, oh, I want to create an AI app that's going to do these other things better that we're going to start to sell, saying how can I leverage the things that I already know work and layer in AI into that for our internal purposes. Like that's what's going to accelerate your individual growth, and then you learn what works and what doesn't as you try to turn a
Hmm.
co-pilot into autopilot, whatever you want to try to do with AI. But that's going to just educate you around what your expectations could or should be for when the environment is more open, and you can actually pursue that new category of stuff. I think a lot of consultants and businesses right now just don't have that as a luxury. So focusing on the more and better would be my advice.
I agree very much that there's. I think we're in alignment here. I think you don't want to build an AI app and sell it. I think you want to use AI to make your business run better, do more, do better, because that is you already have the processes in place. Probably, if it's a successful thing you're doing, right? So
Totally.
how do you just make it faster, lighter, stronger, all the Daft Punk things?
Yeah.
Cool. All right. So I think that's the
I think
big.
that's it for the day.
That's it for the day. I think we are next time we talk in 2 weeks' time. We will have launched class notes finally. We got all the tech debt solved. We will probably have also launched Minute Master. I don't think we'll have launched Pottery yet, but
You sure?
we'll see. Right? Part of
Maybe
it
we'll see.
is just you know funding all these experiments. Right? Uh, these are we had really interesting results with summary.legal. We don't really have any organic growth right now. I did get us in a newsletter. We were featured actually in Body Brain. Um,
Ooh.
and I am looking at other options to try and get some more visibility there. But it is also, it's a very, very niche product, and it is marketed as a very, very niche thing, and that's how I think it will succeed. So we'll see how Class Notes goes. We'll see how Minute Master goes, and we'll have a lot to talk about next time. Tom, anything interesting to share with people as we sign off today? Anything you want people to know they should do with you?
The only thing I'll tease today is actually we're coming up with a workflow designer course, which is going to
Nice.
be a very structured course with probably about 20 to 30 different videos talking about a lot of the subjects I talked about today. But that's going to be coming out in June, July. So if you are interested in becoming a workflow designer, learning a little bit more about how to design the way people get stuff done inside of organizations with the tools you already use, automation and AI, hit us up, xray.tech. And yeah, we're going to be pushing that page live likely this week for early signups. So you heard it
Nice.
here first, but yeah, would
Heard
love
it here
to
first.
get you in there.
All right, awesome. I'm Crowd Tamers, obviously. I have my $10 million Facebook ads funnel is live now. If you are interested in running ads to figure out your go-to-market, your validation, or do you just want to make more money? Because every single client I worked with in the last year dropped their CPA, sorry, by more than 50%, right? Earn more money with less clicks. Go get that free template. It is the top of 10 different $1 million ad funnels, which is why it's $10 million pack. It's free. Get it today. Crowdtamers.com. Thanks, everybody, for listening. We'll see you in 2 weeks. Tom, peace out, dude.